So good morning. This morning I want to talk about the strange things that seem to happen to time in meditation. And so we need to just visit a little bit of physics, especially a concept that Einstein came up with called relativity in respect to time. And that is basically, in very simple terms, I'm not going to get right into the physics of it, that time, your experience or perception of time, is relative to the conditions you're in. So we could think, well, time is time and time is set. It's not at all. And we experience this all the time in our lives. We know sometimes time goes faster, sometimes it goes slower. Sometimes we almost seem to be able to slow down time. And so in meditation, time really changes, and I'm going to explain that. So the first thing to understand is that the stronger gravity is, the slower time passes. Okay, so when we're down on the earth, the gravity is quite strong, and this slows down the passage of time. The deeper we go into the earth, the more that slows down. So if you were to take this a bit further, you could say that the stronger the gravity, the slower we age, the slower we experience time. So this is my understanding why when people are grounded, it actually helps them to slow down, helps their physical aging process to slow down and their experience of time to slow down. There seems to be more time when you're in touch with the planet, when you're present. So the implications, as also with time, as you move, your experience of time changes. So time is relative to speed. And the faster speed gets, the more time slows down, to the point where it's predicted that at the speed of light, which is the fastest speed that we can go at, 300,000 kilometers per second, or about 186,000 miles per second. So time slows as you approach the speed of light and stops at the speed of light. So you could say that if we were to experience the speed of light, there would be no time. Time would stop. And this is why I believe, and this is very much this doesn't come from science, this is my sort of reasoning, reckoning with this. When we are in the moment, present and aware, our senses are taking in light at the speed of light. And that's why time seems to stand still in the moment. There's no past, there's no future, there's just the moment, and time stands still. And when you think about that, that's quite mind-boggling. So if we're grounded, time slows down. If we're in the moment, time slows down. And that's why in moments of complete connection, there's an awe. Like if you see a sunset or a sunrise, it is like time stands still. Our experience of time stands still. And this is also why children, time seems to go slower, because they're more often in the moment, they're present. And quite often when we're busy and in our thoughts and not present and aware, time seems to go really quickly. And for some people, as they age, time seems to speed up. And I think this is partly because of the way we live. We don't stop so much. We don't connect. We don't slow down. We're not as grounded, maybe. So these are all things for you to think about. So when we go into meditation, we are lifting up out of the physical dimension. So we're lifting up into a dimension where there is no time. Okay, so there's no time and space in the inner planes, in the higher planes of the mind of meditation. And this is why in meditation, sometimes time does strange things. Sometimes by your watch, a lot of time has gone past, yet you feel like you've only been in meditation moments or minutes. Other times you can be in meditation for just minutes and it seems like a vast amount of time. Because there is no time in that dimension, you're moving out of the physical that's grounded and affected by gravity up into a dimension where there is no time and no space. And this happens in dreams as well. Sometimes in dreams, a dream can be just 30 seconds, and yet in the dream, it feels like years or lifetimes even. Time does different things on these different dimensions. So in my experience, meditation gives us a real break from the ravages of time and the time pressures of our daily lives. Because when you think about a lot of the stress in our lives, a lot of that stress comes from time pressures. I've got to be somewhere, I've got to get something done. It's a society driven by time. And we often feel like we don't have enough time. And so we speed up and our mind speeds up and our thoughts speeds up. And this makes time go faster in our perception. Where in actual fact, if we were to breathe deeply, come back into our physicalness, ground our energy and connect with the present moment, time would slow down and we would have more time. And I've done this consciously sometimes when I'm late. Instead of rushing around trying to get there on time, I've just gone, nope. I'm just going to go and take my time. And miraculously, I will get there on time. Something happens to the clocks, to the watches, and time slows down and I get there on time. And this is also to do with consciousness interfering with perception, which is a whole nother talk. But try it yourself. Next time you feel under time pressure, instead of that sort of natural response to speed up and think more and try and do more, do less, slow down, ground your energy, come into the moment. And you'll have less negative effect on your physical body from the stress response. And you'll actually get a very different experience of time. And you'll realize that you are actually more in charge of your perception and experience of time than you realize. And so when we go into meditation, we're like lifting out of this world where time causes us so much stress. And we're lifting into a realm where there is timelessness. And we can experience the movement on the inner planes. It's very quick. Light moves much, much quicker. It's not as dense as the energy down this vibration in the physical. And so the intuitive light understanding insights that come in meditation move very quickly and can come in a very expansive way. And obviously the scientist who really opened up our eyes to the relativity of time was Einstein. And it's interesting that Einstein said, he was both a mystic and a scientist. And he said some of the ideas, the profoundly different ideas that he's brought to mankind, arrived in a split second, completely formed, whole and complete, mind-blowing concepts that just poured into a mind that was open to them at the time. And then he had to spend 10 years or so going and doing the maths to prove it in a way that would be accepted by science. So in many ways, he merged the mystical with the scientific. And I think it caused him much frustration because he knew things were right. He just had to prove them with the tools and the understanding and the mathematics and the measurements that we had at the time. And, some of his ideas have been challenged as our tools and our understanding and our capacity to measure has changed. So there's lots to think about there, but really the key message is, if you're finding that time and your perception of time is racing, and you feel like, you're racing, you're running out of time, rather the thing to do is to to ground yourself, to come into the moment and to meditate, to take yourself out of that time continuum and into dimensions where we don't experience the stress and ravages of time. And you will find that your physical body doesn't age the same when you do that regularly. And that is something that science will get a hold of more in the future. It won't be Botox injections. We'll understand time, okay, in terms of physical aging and cellular degeneration and regeneration. And then we'll start to bring consciousness into it. And that's, again, that's, you know, if energy follows thought, that brings in a whole different realm of ideas. And also just something else for you to think about. If at the speed of light, there is no time, if we could travel at the speed of light, we could move any distance instantly. There would be no past, no future. We could, with our mind, move anywhere, any place, instantly. Any galaxy, any universe, anywhere. So that's something to think about. It's sort of a bit mind-blowing, but I think it also helps us to understand on a deeper level why meditation gives us so many more benefits than we can probably even explain with our science at the moment, and we will understand more in the future. So hopefully that helps. And what we're going to do today, we're just going to do a really simple meditation. And all I want you to do is just observe your thoughts, but on some level of the meditation, be aware, just be aware of time or no time or the passage of time, just for your own experience. See how it goes. So get yourself comfortable, sitting reasonably upright. And this is one of the reasons that I always ground our energy in meditation. I think it's an important part of a good meditation experience. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that you're sending a connection deep down into the earth where things absolutely slow down. So as deep as you can through your feet or through your base chakra, and you're just coming into that no time, that slowing down. And then bring yourself into the present moment. And we do this by focusing on our senses. So become aware of your body sitting on the chair. Become aware of the feeling of the clothes on your skin. Be aware of the air in the room. Now open to your sense of hearing and just let sounds come in and just let them be as they are. We let thoughts about the sounds go. We just listen. And now bring that same awareness to your breath. Just noticing the breath come into your body. Noticing the breath as it leaves. And this will be quite physical to begin with. You feel the cooler air coming in, the warmer air leaving. And as you keep your focus on the breath, you will find your perspective on the breath will be more from an inner perspective. You'll be noticing your breathing from inside of yourself. Let the breathing go deep down into your belly. Ideally, as you breathe in, your tummy fills with air. As you breathe out, your tummy comes back towards your spine. In this way, we breathe in the natural way of the body. And as you focus on the breath, you'll feel yourself moving into what we call inner planes or different dimensions. And in this dimension, there is no time and space. Physical matter no longer exists. It's the realm of pure thought, pure energy. Things are wavicular, not particular from a physics point of view. You just keep a gentle focus on your breath. Coming back to this focus anytime your mind wanders off on a train of thought or a distracting thought or feeling or sound. And in meditation, there is often a feeling of wanting to let go, to surrender, even if you don't know what you are surrendering. And we can have a little bit of fear about this feeling, but I want you to just trust this feeling. It's not a falling asleep feeling. It's a surrender of the hold over your mind of your thoughts. And we just focus on the breath and surrender. And through this focus on the breath, we will come to find an experience within us that is deeply peaceful, that is still, in which there is no time. There is no limit. It is limitless, expansive, beyond our comprehension. And if we keep returning to the breath, it will hold us in this space. And this space is deeply nourishing to our whole being, as we realize that we are timeless. The essence of us is not confined by space or time, and is connected to all. So just keep coming back to the breath and allowing yourself to be. Thoughts will still run in your mind, but they're not your focus. They're just echoes of the past or the future. The breath is the here and now. And just allow yourself to experience what is. We get a glimpse of the eternity of the present moment. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to the breath and drop down into the peace. Just aware of thoughts still passing through your mind, but not particularly caught up in them. Simply observe them. Gently start to arise from the meditation, coming back into your physical body, into this space-time continuum. Moving as you need to, but just keep your eyes closed for a moment. Because as we open our eyes and the light hits our eyes, we have a moment where we can be in the world but not of it. We can experience the world without time and space. That moment of awe being present gives us. So as you open your eyes, just have the intention to open them with full awareness. And just see what happens. Helps us to understand why cultures more in tune with nature tend to experience life slower than cultures that are less in tune with nature, and maybe why our culture, time seems to be speeding up as we're less connected and more removed. Also helps us to understand that the stillness that sits behind, or from where all sound arises and where all sound returns, the silence or the stillness from which all movement arises and to which all movement returns, is the eternal now. And this is what we touch in meditation. And this is what we can touch through mindfulness in our everyday life. So hopefully that helps you to understand why even just 10 minutes spent in meditation can give you an experience of timelessness that is deeply nourishing to all levels of your being. Namaste.